Hi everyone, I'm Yinki and I really appreciate everyone that has supported the growth of this channel in one way or the other. I really appreciate you and I say a very big thank you to everyone.
You are welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a princess blouse. So this type of blouse is a bustier blouse that will have a princess style line on the bust area. And these are the materials that we are going to use to make the blouse. So this type of bustier blouse, we have a yoke on the neckline, and it will also have the yoke will extend to the back, and also there will be a kind of ruffles, gathered ruffles on the neckline. But what we really want to show you here is how to make a princess style line blouse that has its style line, it's that going through the shoulder line, not the armhole. The materials I need a wadding to do my padding. This wadding, you have the heavyweight and lightweight. I need my interfacing. You can get your hairstay, anyone, you can get your normal soft stay. And this is the net, the tool that I'm going to gather on the neckline, and this is the lining, and this lining also will be used for the interfacing. So this is the lace material I will be using in this tutorial. So I will be projecting the measurements needed on the screen right now. The blouse length for this tutorial is 24 inches blouse length. Then the upper chest is 8 inches, the bust is 10, the under bust is 13.5, the half length is 16, and this is the blouse length. So you are going to leave some allowance here. And after that, I took the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement is 13 inches. 13 inches divided by 2 give us 6.5. So that 6.5, you are going to place it here also. Then you take the armhole length. So the armhole length here is 8 inches also. So after I have done that, the next thing to do is to come here and input the dart measurement, the nipple to nipple measurement, to be able to get my dart. So I will start from the bust. The nipple to nipple measurement for this my client is 7 inches. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I'll take 3.5 here, here. Also on the half length, I will take 3.5. So then I'm going to take my ruler to get the straight line, so I can dot the straight line out. So this is my nipple to nipple measurement. So I'll be taking much of a small dart here, then I will take the bigger part here. So I'll be taking half inch here, half inch here. Then I'll be taking, because I want to take 2 inches dart allowance. 2 inches will be okay for this type of bust. So I'll be taking 1.5 here, because I have taken half on this side plus 1.5 that I took on this, that make 2 inches. So I will also take here, I will take 1 here. So having done that, I will come down from the bust line by almost 3/4 of an inch, so that we will not have a pointed dart. Then I will use my ruler to mark every of the points, and later I will use my hand to do all the sewing and blending. So I'll take this line also, I'll mark it. Then after I have marked it, I'm getting my bust. The neck width that I need for this tutorial is 3.5 by 3.5. Then with that, I will take my curve ruler and carve the neckline out. And after I have done that, this is my neckline. Then I'll take the shoulder slope. The shoulder slope here is 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. And after I have done the shoulder, the next thing I'm going to do is to come on the shoulder line, because the dart is going through the shoulder line. So that's why we are going to utilize the shoulder line for our dart. So I'll first of all take the half of the shoulder line. The half of the shoulder line, we have 3 inches for the shoulder line, so the half of the shoulder line will be 1.5. So by taking this 1.5, I'm going to connect it to the breast point. So I have connected it to the breast point like so. Because I have taken a dart here, the dart that has been taken here will be, I'm going to extend, because I have taken this off, I'm going to extend this place. So the shoulder line will extend outward a little bit because of the dart I have taken. So I will extend the shoulder line by 2 inches. So having extended my shoulder line by 2 inches, the shoulder line will be connected to the bust. So if I want to connect it to the bust, what I'm going to do is, I will not allow you to get to the bust point. I will come off the bust point a little, so that this will be a breaking line between the center front and the side panel. So I'm going to come up from here. First of all, mark your shoulder, where your shoulder stops. And what I have done here is that this dart intake, which is 1.5, is what I have added here to give me 1.5. Then I added 2 inches extra ease. You can also leave it at 1.5, depends on how busty your client is. So I'll be connecting this line to this break point 1 inch from the bust allowance. I'll be connecting it so that the bust will not be sharp. So I'm going to use my curve ruler to curve it up very well so that it will be fine. So what I'm doing here is called blending. So I'll be blending this bust area. So having blended it, this is what I have. So then this part will serve as the dart I want to remove. So if you are using, because we are using a yoke, we are still utilizing this shoulder. The shoulder stops here. The actual shoulder stops here. But I just use this to create the bust line. The next thing to do is to input all the dart measurements at the side. 8, but 38 is divided by 4 will give me 9.5. And here, any dart intake must be replaced here. So first of all, I have 2 inches dart intake, and my client is using underbust 34, which is 8.5 plus 2 inches, which is dart intake 2 inches. 8.5 plus 2 inches will give me 10.5. And here we have connected it. Then I'm going to add my sewing allowance. So I'll be adding the sewing allowance of 1.5 is. So we have done all this to the half length. So if you are making a dress, you can utilize this half length. But since we are not making a dress, we are making a blouse, so I'm going to extend all these measurements down. So I'll come here, and there is a form of style line that we have on the down part, that this place will be wider and this part will go inward. So what I'm going to do here is, whatever I have here, like here now I have 3 inches, so I will make it 4 inches here. Then that 4 inches will be connected like so. And this part will be connected to come and meet this line. Then I will take all my measurements from that point. So here now, the next measurement I'm going to take is the hip measurement will be transferred on the hem line of the dress. The hip measurement is 44 inches. 44 divided by 4 is 11 inches. Then I'm going to add sewing allowance of because there is a dart intake here also that will go down like this. So I'll be adding sewing allowance of 2 inches here, or 2.5. So the sewing allowance that will be here will be more than the one that is here. So 2.5 will be fine. So I've added 2.5 sewing allowance here, because this place is not tight. You can even add 3 inches, because from the picture it's not something that will be tight. It must loose. So having done that, there is a shape that comes in here. I'm going to come up inward by 2 inches. Then I'll be connecting it to, let's get the midpoint here, 13.5. So we have 6 3/4. So I'll be connecting it to the midpoint here. I can use my pattern master to do that, or I can even come, it depends on how you want it. This place, there's no standard for this place. I can let it get to this point, to the point of intersection here. There's no standard, whichever way you want it. There's no standard at this point. So from here, I will now add sewing allowance of 1.5 inch here. For my hemline, I need sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. You can make your own 2 inches. It depends on how you want it. So 1.5 is okay for me. I'll be able to work with 1.5. That's why I'm adding 1.5 inch. So I'll connect it like so. So this is my blouse length. Then the next thing I'm going to do right now is to take my armhole measurement. So the armhole measurement that I'll be taking now, I'll be utilizing this to take the armhole. So I'll be connecting this point to this point. So having done that, we are going to add all the sewing allowance on the shoulder line, 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I will add it here. Sewing allowance on the armhole, 1/2 inch also. I'm going to add it. So on the neckline, sewing allowance of 1/2 inch also will be added on the neckline. The next thing to do is to remove my yoke. But if you want to make a blouse, a perfect blouse that will end on the shoulder line, all you need to do is, so since I'll be taking this off as my dart, from here to here will be taken off as my dart, I have this alone left. This is left, which is 1.5. So here I will add 1.5 to this part. So I hope you get that. So but because I'm making a yoke, so this will not really affect me, because the yoke will stop here. So I will just take the yoke right now. So how do I want the yoke? I want it to be as deep as the upper chest. So if I want it as deep as the upper chest, what I will do is that I'll be connecting it like so. You can raise it up. It depends on your client's preference. You can pull it down, whichever way you like it. So I will just raise it up a little bit and add my sewing allowance. So this part will serve as the yoke. Then I will add the sewing allowance on top. So by the time I remove the yoke, I'm going to add sewing allowance on the, I don't even need to add sewing allowance. When I remove it, I will add sewing allowance to this down part and to this upper part. So this is the yoke. So for the yoke, what I will be doing right now is I will be cutting this off and I will be working on the yoke. When I cut this off now, all I have is I have this. So right now, because we are done with our adding the sewing allowance, we can go ahead now and cut it off right now. I'm thinking we should use this for our back. We can trace it out and just do some little adjustments to the back. So what I'll be doing is that I'll be placing this underneath and trace it out for the back before I cut it out. Leaving the zipper allowance, then I'll go ahead and trace everything out. I've shaded this part, and all these things all the lines that I shaded, we are going to remove it. So if you are making a full blouse that does not have yoke, what you will do on this shoulder, because this is the shoulder that is left for us, we only have 1.5 width shoulder, and our normal shoulder is 3 inches width. So we are going to add 1.5 to this side. If you want to cut a full blouse, that's what I'm trying to explain, then you add 1/2 inch sewing allowance on both sides, making 2.5. So if I'm cutting a full blouse, I will put 2.5 here, connect it to this part like so. I just want to use this to explain, no, this is not what I want to cut. Then I'm going to place my curve ruler and my armhole comes this way. Can you see this? So this has made up for our shoulder. So by the time I join this to this now, the shoulder will be okay. I hope you get that. But I don't need this in this way now. I just use this to explain. What I'll be using now is the yoke. And for the yoke, what I will need now, that's why I take this blue. I need this line. It stops here. Then I will extend it by sewing allowance of 1/2 inch. Then after I have done that, I will connect it. I will get my armhole, the actual armhole. So I'm going to connect the armhole like so. So here you're going to come inward by 1/2 inch on the mid armhole, like we normally do for our basic bodies. You come inward, then I will be connecting the points. So like we normally do for our basic bodies. Then I'm going to add sewing allowance of 1/2 inch. So since I've added sewing allowance here, I don't really need it, but I can put ease because we are using another material to cut it out. So I can put the ease. It will not affect the cutting. So this line will just extend like so. And this is what we have. So my yoke comes this way. I'll be using the blue line to trace my yoke right away. So I'll go ahead now and cut out. Just follow the cutting. So let's first of all remove the yoke. Then following the blue line, I'll go like so. Then I'll come here. So this is the yoke, and also so I'm going to slit through this part, slit through. And on this center front, sewing allowance will be added. So remember, this will be cut on fold. Then I will add sewing allowance of 1/2 inch here, but I don't need to add to this part because we have added it to the side. So this is what I have. I'll be joining this like so, then I'm going to put so this is what we have. We have the center front, we have the yoke, we have the side. Since I know the center front is here, this is the center front, so I'll just go ahead and place this, which is my yoke, at the center front. So I'll let it match at the center. So I must tell you that the complete video of this tutorial is on Seller right now, so you can just go through the description box and click the Seller link in the description box to download the full video of this tutorial. It includes the detailed sewing of this blouse and also the cutting of the sleeve and also the sewing of the sleeve all together. So you can get the full video on Seller in the description box. So the yoke has been attached. Go along with the sewing. This is the wrong side, so you can see how neat it is. So this is the right side, and so this is the back. This is the back. It has been ironed, and I must tell you that the comprehensive video of this tutorial is on Seller right now, and if you want to download it, you can just go through the description box, then you will see the link there, so you can just download the full video of how I cut, how I sew it, everything, the turning and everything. So this is the blouse. You can see it's beautiful. In fact, the sleeve making is also on Seller. You can see everything there. So just download one video and it will cover everything. So we have come to the end of this tutorial, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.